Welcome to Adeptus On-Air, the show where we examine how individuals and companies make decisions that drive their business and personal success. Each week, we connect with notable professionals who pull back the curtain on the industries that Adeptus has been on the cutting edge of for the last 30 years, including music, sports, and entertainment, as well as new emerging markets.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Adeptus On-Air. I am again your host, Mike Hoffman, and today I am joined by teenage entrepreneur Holden Bierman. Holden, how you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
No, it's so cool to have you. This is a really neat story. Kind of want to get into it, from your perspective, but just as a way of introduction, you're a junior in high school.
Yes.
You created your swimwear brand at age 12 and launched at age 13.
Yep.
It's beachwear and tropical island inspired swimwear that emphasizes sustainability and style. Crafted from recycled plastic bottles. Each piece reflects your commitment to protecting the environment. And that's a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. It's been an awesome journey.
So, all right. So I'm thinking back when I knew I was going to talk to you, I was thinking back to when I was 12 years old. And, I was outside playing ball, little tennis, maybe riding my bike, and I wasn't thinking about starting a business. So obviously, I think you're kind of in the minority, a good minority.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about how a 12-year-old has the mindset to kind of go forward with this.
Yeah, so it was right during, so I just turned 17 3 weeks ago. So it was
happy
right
birthday.
during, thank you. It was right during COVID time. So it was that March kind of area, right when COVID happened. Nobody kind of knew what was going on, right? Schools were shutting down. We were all stuck at home, and I had just like this 5 weeks off. I remember when school announced, like, hey, you all have 5 weeks off. So I was like, okay, instead of playing video games, which I did for the first few weeks, and I messed around with my time. I kind of did everything, but I was like, hey, let's try something different, right? So I started researching popular business ideas, and one of them was e-commerce. And I kind of figured out what I wanted to do through that niche. And at the time, we were kind of setting our time aside at our beach house, which was in Carolina Beach, North Carolina. And kind of that mix of the beach lifestyle, starting an e-commerce brand kind of led me to fashion. So we launched Coastal Cool on my 13th birthday, which was August 11th, 2020. And the brand started
I'm
off.
stopping you for 1 second because to me, there's a big gap there that is important. So
Okay.
you decide you want to have a business. Great.
Yep.
You research e-commerce and you're at a beach house.
Yep.
Again, I like it. Your mind's like already 7 levels ahead, which is so impressive. How did you come up with the idea to make it swimwear? I mean, you could have done a lot of beach themed things. So what was the discussion to say, okay, let's try and come up with some, swimwear? Did you always have a desire to, create clothing or fashion or, what was that thought process?
Yeah, so we only did the swimwear and beachwear. We launched that in 2022 for our first years of business, our first
Gotcha.
2 years of business. It was originally t-shirts and hoodies.
Okay.
And I say this all the times that I speak. As I developed as an entrepreneur, I wanted a quality product, and I really wasn't too happy with our product that we first launched.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I was a young kid, young entrepreneur. I still am, but I was so excited to just get the product out there that I wasn't really thinking, hey, this is quality, this is giving back, this is making an impact, right? So time kind of came with that, and developing as an entrepreneur and developing the brand as a whole came with launching our swimwear line.
Now, it's one thing to come up with, hey, let me make some clothing. It's, whether it's hoodies, sweatshirts, or now, what you have now. And I was just on your website before, really, really impressive looking stuff. What was the impetus of it being, environmentally friendly from that aspect? Is that something that you always grew up in a house that was very environmentally conscious, or was that just something that you believed in?
Yeah, so honestly, it kind of came to me. That was never the initial vision of the brand of Coastal Cool. Obviously, we were always beach based, tropical based, but it was never kind of the mission to go down the sustainability route or the impact based route. But once again, kind of like I said, as I developed as an entrepreneur and a business owner, I realized that as a business and as somebody vital in the community, whether you're a personal figure, whether you're a business owner, you should kind of connect that into giving back somehow, being more involved in the community. And it was that kind of thing that clicked in my head. And that, once again, that did not click in when I first started the business. It came over time. And I kind of just had this click in, hey, let's transform our product, let's make it quality, but let's somehow make an impact with that. And that's when our supplier kind of, we worked back and forth with them to figure out kind of cool fabric combinations, and we were able to roll out our beachwear line in 2022.
So explain it to me who doesn't understand anything about this. What does it mean when you're making products out of recycled like plastic bottles? I mean, I look at this, this plastic. I don't know how this can become a pair of pair of swim trunks. So
Yeah.
kind of walk through how you get from that to that.
Yeah, so basically, and that's the cool thing. So all of our suppliers, they're the ones behind the scenes that are basically taking our idea and turning it into reality. So basically, it's from the collection of plastic bottles into the separate chipping. Basically, they take these plastic bottles and they chip them into these microfibers, and those microfibers are so small you can't even see them. Like right here, you cannot even see them, and they basically melt them down into fibers, and those fibers go one on one into whatever garment you're making, whether that's our cover ups, whether that's our swimwear. And we have a 90% recycled polyester mix. So that allows basically the pre-base fabric. And then the second part is the 10% spandex. So that kind of allows that stretch. And the cool thing is with recycled polyester is it's really high quality stuff. It obviously costs more for us to make and produce, but it's very quality. It lasts, it's durable, and it feels great.
Wow. So what is your role? Obviously, it's your company. You've created it.
Yep.
Well, let's face it, you have another full-time job, and that's being a high school student.
Yeah.
So, and I always admired like when I see these like 13 or 14-year-olds on Shark Tank, and they say, I can't focus all my time because I have school and I have homework and I have baseball after school.
Yeah.
So you obviously have a very successful business, and we'll get into that a little more in a minute. But how are you balancing it? Like what have you built as your support team in your business to allow you to make this thing successful?
Yeah, so basically it's a one-man show. So the only other support that I have is my dad. He basically handles all of our legal stuff and financial stuff because I cannot, because
Mhm.
I'm still technically 17. But on day-to-day basis, I handle all of our e-commerce, all of our back-end marketing, our flows, basically all the automation around the brand, and works with all of our influencers, make sure all the products are getting out on time, basically the assembly of the business, right? He handles the legal stuff, the financial stuff, and I handle how the product gets to the customer and the brand of Coastal Cool. So,
So all right, so let's shift it down to marketing. So you kind of said something there that was interesting. So what is your marketing approach? I mean, since I think you're very based upon your age, I imagine you're pretty social media based or a lot of it. And you mentioned influencers. So is that how you're getting this across? Are you hiring influencers to promote your product?
yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So we have a little bit over, I think, 150,000 followers across platforms. We've pretty much done zero in paid advertising. And what I mean paid advertising is Facebook ads, Instagram ads. All
Mhm.
of our stuff has been organic reach, and that's been through influencer marketing, like you said. We've teamed up with some awesome, huge influencers. We just teamed up with Piper Raquel last week. I think she's got a little over 20 million followers combined across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And that's basically what we've done. We've sent out products or we've paid influencers to basically promote the brand and promote the impact of
Mhm.
Coastal. And it's been great.
And what usually happens? I mean, I'm aware because I deal with a lot of influencers, but without getting into specific numbers, you're contracting an influencer and you're
Yep.
having them do what, like one or two posts for X amount of dollars, a couple of slides on Instagram. Like, what is the general, without talking dollars, what are the general terms of what you're having them do?
Yeah, so basically, it's basically we send out free products or we pay them based on a series of posts. Each we kind of leave that almost up to the influencer because I like to get kind of the vision of what they're trying to go for. Like if I was an influencer, I'd kind of want to put my own spice onto it and with my own style, right? We're wearing the product or
Mhm.
I was wearing the product, but I've got a style for marketing different maybe from the brand, right?
Yeah.
So I try to incorporate the influencers kind of side of things. And every time they've really hit it good. So whether that's the way they take photos, whether that's the way they post, whether it's in story, Instagram reel format, a TikTok, a dance, right? Their kind of take on it has really helped us out. And it's super cool to see their ideas in combination with the brand.
So walk through now some of the items you have. So I know you started with the hoodies, the t-shirts, and obviously you have both male and female swimwear.
Yep.
What else do we have?
Yeah, so we've got the male and female swimwear, and that kind of goes for beachwear. We've got the cover-ups, we've got the bikinis. We just launched our sunglass line. We've got hats still, we've got t-shirts still, and right now we're actually working on skincare. So I basically wanted the goal for Coastal Cool, and this was not the foundation when we first started. It now is to basically be a go-to one-stop shop for all your beach essentials. And that's kind of the vision I have, pivoting for this year and years to come. So I'm super excited.
So you think so one-stop beach, does that mean you'll eventually pivot to beach chairs, and anything you need?
Yeah, I mean, if we could find, right, it's finding a supplier, and that's one thing I
Yeah.
want to get into. Finding a supplier that not only supports a young entrepreneur, supports a company that's still technically a startup.
Hmm.
It's all about finding quality products at a good price that you can actually sell and not lose yourself on, right? And I will speak about that. You probably don't know, but Coastal Cool is print on demand. So all of our stuff is made to order. We do not have an actual warehouse where all the products are sitting there. So we only pay when an order comes in, and it's super cool how it works because we have no inventory. So that allows us to spend all of our kind of upfront costs and marketing stuff on actually getting that product to potential customers.
So what's your turnaround time, since it's all custom, which is great that it's custom? So what's your turnaround time from click and order to delivery?
It's about a week, which I'm super happy with.
Yeah, it's a great.
I mean, it's around 2 to 3 days for production. And then once it's out of production, it's basically out of our hands. And that kind of goes for any business. Once
Sure.
you get into the hands of shipping, it's kind of out of your hands, right? But our shipping times are pretty good. It's about 3 to 4 days. So turnaround time normally is about 7 days, depending on the order size. Larger orders, when we do custom manufacturing and stuff, may take anywhere from a week and a half to two. But that kind of makes sense for ordering if you're ordering 10 to 15 items at a time.
Yeah, but you look at it though, even if it takes an extra day or two, the amount of money that you're saving
Oh, tremendous. Yeah.
in inventory and rent or whatever it may be,
And time.
and time, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, those costs can obviously be used, like you said. I think you have a great approach. Can be either be put in the business or compensate you either way. I think right now, from what I'm gathering, you're obviously all the money is being used to grow the business, which I think is wonderful.
Yep.
I mean, luckily for you right now, I think you're probably living rent free wherever you are, so you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about those kind
Yeah.
of things.
That's one thing I've always said. And I've been speaking around middle schools, high schools. I'm about to speak at a college actually 2 weeks from now. And that's one thing I've said as an entrepreneur and as still a teenager, right? I have a roof over my head. I've got food on the table. I've got a loving, supporting family who's basically allowed me to build this and build this brand and supported me. They were the first people to give me $500 to start this business, right? It
Yeah,
was that initial investment that got me to speaking with you today.
yeah.
So as I have kind of all these payments covered, right, it allows me to fund my business and allow us to grow, right? And the goal is to be able to possibly one day maybe use this as a income source for me, maybe in college, maybe whatever path I take in the future. But right now, it's my job to continue to let it grow and build it to as big as it can be.
Now, is your plan to go to college or focus on this?
Yeah, I'm looking at going to college. I would like to continue to study business, study
Mhm.
marketing, kind of learn more. My top pick right now is U Tampa. Nick Mullaney goes there,
Mhm.
so and kind of told me all about it. And there's a lot of people that have told me about it, and I'm super interested in going there. And it allows me even more to market the brand now that I'd be in Florida. So,
Yeah, it's funny. I My daughter's in college now, and that was one of the schools she actually looked at. And it's so funny when you go on the website and you see in the middle of the campus this like huge swimming pool,
yep,
and you see 2,000 young adults just laying out. I'm like, okay, that seems like a pretty cool place to spend 4 years of college.
yeah, absolutely.
Is it? And you know what? That's actually even a great way for you to grow your business. On campus, you're going to be around a lot of people of your age who would love your product.
Yep.
So, it's a great way. So you seem like you're a pretty creative guy in the marketing. So besides the influencers, have you thought of any other creative ways to try and, bring attention to the product?
Yeah, so it's been reaching out. We do, I mean, as you probably, if you looked up the brand online or you looked up my personal name, we have a lot of press out about us. We have a lot of press about my story. We have a lot of
Mhm.
press about the brand. And basically, what I'm doing here with you today, speaking about my story, how
Yeah,
I was this 12-year-old kid growing this brand. Once again, that's all organic marketing. I
yeah,
reached out to a lot of editors in the last 5 years. The majority has not responded, but there's been a good amount that has. And then those editors have reached out to other editors, which got me other press. That's how I got the Forbes. I was on our local television station, radio stations. Like it's all been kind of connecting with people who just want to support me, support the brand,
yeah.
and kind of promote young entrepreneurship. So it's really worked out.
Well, that's what makes the story so cool. I mean, another swimwear, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
The you know the recycling bit and the environmental part, that's kind of cool. So that makes it a little more appealing than a normal brand. But then
Yeah,
add to the fact that you're 17, you started this when you were 12, and you really have a feel good story, and you have a company that people want to get behind because you're, I don't want to be cliche and say like the American dream, but you're what
yeah,
you're what you hope your kid does. Has a passion for something, follows it, learns about it, invests, I don't mean money, but time and effort into it, and
absolutely.
see something grow from literally, I can say here, nothing. This started, you didn't get this from someone else. You started with nothing
Yeah.
and you've grown it here. So, forgetting that it's a cool story for everyone else, I hope you've taken some time to just kind of digest what you've done and how impressive it is and how you're in such a small minority of people who have achieved something like this, not only at such a young age but in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely I sometimes I can't even it's a weird feeling, how far seeing this idea.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were to really look back on the first Cool So Cool and look at it to what it is today, the people that I've met today, the opportunities that I've been given today, I mean, it's truly remarkable. And I'm forever grateful for everything that I've been able to do in these last 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's truly awesome. The opportunities that I've been given, um, most teenagers aren't getting, let's just say that. And
Yeah.
it's amazing to see not only what I've built, but the opportunities that I've been given to allow me to continue to grow.
Yeah.
It
You haven't gotten these opportunities, you've earned them. So yeah, to me, you need to make that distinction. No one's handed you an opportunity. you've
Yeah.
you've made these for yourself.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing. Like it's been opportunity after opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and it's never been an opportunity and then I go down. It's always been an opportunity that continues to lead me up and continues allowing me to build this brand. It's never been, and that's one thing. This last year has been literally the Forbes came out, all these articles came out, and then it got me to TV, and then it got us to releasing new collections. Like it was
Yeah.
just bit after bit, but it's so cool to see it grow. It really is.
You never know, you'll be in a marketing class at Tampa and they'll be studying you, there'll be a case study on you.
Yeah, well, at my school, it's funny because at my school, I've taken all of our entrepreneurship classes, but they've actually put the brand of Coastal Cool and our marketing basically into the lesson plan. So the students, my friends, have basically studied and dissected Coastal Cool from our website to our social media. It's really cool. It is.
Are they calling you for answers?
Yes.
Well, you
Yes.
better do well in that class, that's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah. I did well.
Yeah, I'm going to say, if you're analyzing your own stuff and you're leaving there with like a B minus, we have some serious concerns.
We have issues. Absolutely.
So half joking but half serious, are your teachers that are teaching like entrepreneurship, are they coming to you more so than maybe some other subjects because they want to really pick your brain about entrepreneurship, and it's one thing to teach it in theory, but you're actually doing it in practicality?
Yeah, so when I first got in, I haven't taken an entrepreneurship class since my freshman year. So I'm a junior, so it was about 2 years ago, but I'll never forget it. And honestly, my name in the brand of Coastal Cool has only since gotten out, I'd say the last 2 years. So
Mm-hmm.
when I came in the Fuquay Arena High School as a freshman, it was nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew about the brand, and the brand was small at the time. But I think I remember I told my entrepreneurship teacher about it, and she was like, stand up, and she had me present to the entire class, I think on the first day. It
Yeah.
was so nerve-wracking, but that basically kind of set the standard for my entire
Mm-hmm.
education career, I'd say, at the high school still. The moment the teachers kind of hear my name or something, they kind of almost use me as an example, whether it's business, whether it's
Yeah.
marketing. They're like, hey, Holden, what is your take on this? And I'm perfectly fine with doing it, and I absolutely love doing it.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until that kind of first day that
Yeah.
she used me as an example, and it's been like that ever since.
So you're painting a very rosy picture of everything. Everything's been great. You love it. You love it. But obviously, there's been roadblocks.
Yep.
There's been obstacles. So, what's been the most frustrating part of this, or the biggest challenge you've had to overcome?
I honestly, and it goes back to school, I've had a huge support of people that have positively wanted me to succeed, have pushed me to succeed. But then there's been a huge amount of people, specifically teachers, actually at my school, that have done nothing but try to tear me down based on everything that I've built. It's
In what
been,
ways?
go ahead, sorry.
In what ways?
It's been, it's like, you see online, right? You see online, it's a cool brand, right? You see all the publicity, all the press articles, and if you really knew me, you would know the story, right? Exactly what I'm telling you right now, exactly
Mhm.
how I took this idea to what it is today, speaking with you. But a lot of adults, and it's weird. It's been more adults than it has been kids my age, have just looked at me and assumed, oh, it's daddy's business, or something has been handed over to me. Oh, you have had nothing like, and I get it. Most kids are not doing what I've been able to do, and I get it.
Mhm.
It's odd, it's strange, but it's been so hard dealing with the negative kind of outreach I've gotten from adults who don't know me and have just assumed based on things they see online. I don't think it's fair. And I wish they knew kind of my story, exactly what I'm telling you today. And that would allow them to form an opinion on me, not kind of what they see online.
Listen, you talk extremely articulate. You're clearly a super intelligent guy. But if you're going to base it on a first impression for a teacher, you look like a blonde surfer dude,
Yeah.
and which
I,
which is great for your brand. But if
yep.
someone wants to make a judgment without getting to know you, you're giving them great material.
Yep. And,
You
and
know.
and that and that's the hard thing. It's like, and that's one thing I've learned as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. Never judge a book by its cover,
Yeah.
because you never know what somebody has, what somebody's built, what somebody's capable of
Mhm.
doing, what somebody knows, what who somebody might know, right? And that's been the biggest turning point for Coastal Cool, kind of like we just said about 10 minutes ago, is it's been opportunity after
Yeah.
opportunity, but it's been person after person that I've connected with that has given me the opportunity to work for everything that I built.
Yeah. And what's going to be really cool for you, and that's also the exciting thing about you being so young, is you don't know where you're going to be 10 years from now. For all you know, this could be a dynamic company, and hopefully, if that's what you want it to be, it is.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have this amazing thing on your resume,
Yeah. No,
and
that's
you're
the
going to be able, if marketing is the route you want to go. I mean, if you decide you want to go political science, maybe not so much. But if you definitely want to go that business route you're talking about, especially marketing or something
yeah.
like that, I mean, hey, you're going to have such a leg up on anyone else interviewing, because you've been thrown so many curveballs that you're preparing yourself for those challenges.
Yep.
But it's the experience that you have here, that no entrepreneurship class, no internship, no first year job can teach you. You're right now, you're the CMO, you're the CEO, you're the CFO.
Yep.
Maybe your dad's the CFO, but you're
Yep.
you're all these things, chairman of the board, whatever you want to call it, designer. You're everything.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of hats for anyone of any age to wear.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've told people. I'm not bringing in millions, and it's okay. But what I'm doing is I'm building a foundation, and I've
Yep.
basically come to terms with, kind of like you said, I'm going to do everything I can to grow this brand, to build it to something big as it can be, right? But it's a stepping stone for what I'm going to do in the future, and I already know that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what's going to even happen next week for the company, right? We might have
Sure. Sure.
insane growth. It's all about just kind of, I one thing I say is I just go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
Put everything that I possibly can do, but then there's sometimes where you just have to sit back and let it do its thing, let it shine on its own.
But that's the key to this, is because you're so young and because you're not relying on this income as we talked about, you can plant these seeds and you could let the organic growth happen
Absolutely.
and you
100.
could see what happens. if you were 27, recently married with a kid on the way, you can't afford to be as patient. You need to get this revenue up, and
It's a
you might
risk.
be making some good short-term decisions
Yep.
that are not beneficial for the long term because you need to have that paycheck coming in.
Absolutely. And that you're 100%. And I've told all the kids that I've spoken to this. I can take the risk now because I've got a lot of time to recover. I
Yep.
could not do this with either my time, my focus, financial stability. I could never take the risk that I've taken in the last 4 years as a grown adult. Never in a
Yeah.
million years. So I
But you've
have,
also minimized your risk, Holden, because by not having the inventory and not
yep,
having the, a lot of times when businesses fall apart, it's because they've all this inventory they can't sell. And they've had to
yep,
pay their vendors or whatever, and boom, by
yep.
you doing it on made to order.
Yep. And that honestly goes back to kind of that early knowledge.
Mhm.
I could have gone the traditional approach with the business, had better margins and ordered
Yeah.
some samples, made it myself, printed it myself, shipped it myself. Probably made a lot more money in the early stage of the brand,
Mhm.
but on the focus of today and everything that we've built, I think honestly allowing the more time and money to go into marketing the product to customers to really see if customers are interested in my product allowed me to be here to speak with you today. And I truly believe in that.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's super impressive. Talk about briefly where any interested consumers can find you. And I know you're across all platforms, so take a minute and kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so you can find us at our main online store is our e-commerce website, and that's at www.coastalcool.co. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, all at just Coastal Cool. Our Instagram's Coastal Cool _. That's basically our biggest platform. I think we have 100,000 followers on there, and we've got a
Mhm.
little over 50,000 on Facebook. So those are kind of our big main social platforms. That's how you can see our product, how you can shop our product, and how you can get that product right to your doorstep.
Yeah, well, I gotta tell you, I've had a bunch of guests over the past year, and none have been more impressive than you.
Thank you.
And I really, I wish you continued success with all this. And I hope it goes. I don't want to say I hope it takes off, but I'll say this: I hope it goes wherever you want it to go.
I appreciate it. Thank you again for this opportunity. Kind of able to sit down, share my story. And I'm forever thankful for this opportunity. Right, this is a stepping stone to something more. So I
Well, as
appreciate it.
things evolve, reach back, through Dina and stuff. We'd love to have you back on when you have more news to report.
Yeah, no, I'd absolutely love that. Thank you.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On-Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. The views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.